Continuing our study in Ein Yacob. Actually, we're almost finished with this first segment of Berachot in Ein Yacob on page 62. And we are told here that God, Moses, the Torah, and the people of Israel. The rabbis have taught, when our rabbis entered into the yeshiva in Yavne, which was the school, or you might say the last place where the Sanhedrin held its meeting. The Jewish calendar is based, as we see here, on the lunar calendar, but in Kerem Yavne, literally the vineyard at Yavne, because there was a school located in the vineyard in that area, and because the students were seated in rows like the vines in a vineyard. And so we read here in Berachot, page 62 of Ein Yaakov, that the rabbis entered the yeshiva in Yavne, and they found Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Jose, Rabbi Nehemiah, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Jose HaGalili. They all began their exposition of making a few remarks in honor of the host, Rabbi Yehuda, who was the main speaker in every place, and began to lecture. It tells us about the honor of the Torah and expounding the verse after the sin of the golden calf. And Moses took his tent and set it up outside the camp. Exodus chapter 33, verse 7, and Rabbi Yehuda explained, now can't we draw a logical inference from this? We know that the Ark of God was never more than 12 mil away from anyone in the camp, because the Ark was in Moses' tent outside the camp, in the camp of the children of Israel, measured 12 mil across. Now this is according to the Maharsha, who explains that the Ark was in Moses' tent, which was located outside the camp. The camp measured 12 mil across, thus the further distance a person had to walk to reach Moses was 12 mil. Now that the Torah describes anyone that went out to Moses' tent as one who sought God. So here we find the equivalent of whoever sought Moses was seeking God. This is why really Judaism is really an incorrect expression of what the Jewish people follow. It's actually Mosesism or Mosaicism. Because we follow basically the teachings that was given to us by Moses. Now, interesting enough, we read that how much more is a description that one who seeks God is applicable to a Torah scholar who wanders from city to city and from country to country to learn Torah. God would speak to Moses face to face, as we read. This is difficult to understand, since God said, my face cannot be seen. Exodus chapter 33, verse 23. Therefore, Rabbi Yitzchak expounded, the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Moses, Moses, both I and you will explain the halacha to the Jewish people. Some say that the Holy One, blessed be He, said this to Moses, just as I have shown you a cheerful face, so you should show a cheerful face to the Jewish people. Now, even though they've sinned with the golden calf and returned your tents to its original place inside the camp. Now Moses returned to the camp, and Rabbi Abahu said, the Holy One, blessed be He, said to Moses, the people will now say that the master is angry because of the golden calf, and the disciples of Moses is also angry, seeing that he moved his tent outside to the camp. What will happen now to Israel? If you return to your tents to its place, well and good, but if not, your disciple Yehoshua, son of Nun, will take your place. And therefore it says, and Moses returned to the camp. Rava said that it isn't said in vain, since it says, but his aide, the young man Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent, and ultimately succeeded Moses. Rabbi Yehuda spoke further to the honor of the Torah, interpreting the verse, pay attention, haskait, and listen. Today you have become a nation, Deuteronomy 27:9. And he expounded, how could Moses say today? Do you mean to say that the Torah was given to Israel on that day? Is the question. That day was the end of 40 years of wandering through the desert, the 40 years of giving of the Torah at Sinai. There the verse comes to teach you that the Torah is as beloved by those who study it as it was on the day it was given to Mount Sinai. Rabbi Tahum, the son of Rabbi Chiya, from Kfar Akko, said, proof of that is that a person that recites Shema every morning and every evening, and if by mistake he misses the reading, the Shema one evening, he feels depressed, as if he had never read it before, which shows his great love in Torah mitzvahs. This is a great picker-upper, as well. You say, oh, I missed Shema. Here it tells you, even when you feel bad, you did, that's an indication of your great love towards God. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. The Gemara continues to expound the text. The word hashket, it's a contraction of the word hask, which means make, and kitot, classes, make classes, or it means form groups to study Torah, since the Torah can be studied only if you learn with a study partner. As Rabbi Yosef ben Hanina said, what's the meaning of the verse? A sword against the people who boast, hadim, they will become foolish. This is in the book of the prophets Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 36. The sword will come upon the Torah scholars who sit by themselves. This is bad bevad, the study of the Torah alone. And not only a sword will come, but they will become foolish. In other words, the whole purpose of learning Torah is to learn in interaction so we can be able to prepare ourselves even better. This is why discussion is very important, especially in this medium, that there's no reason why anybody should not be able to learn Torah with so much social media and interaction. Of course, the question becomes whether one fulfills that obligation even by virtual learning, where we see people one-on-one learning, which is an incredible thing. But the importance of studying in group is for the benefit of the group. The Gemara now wants to prove that by the meaning of analogy of veno'alu, meaning foolish. It says here, veno'alu, they will become foolish. And it says in connection with Aaron and Miriam, no'alnu, we acted foolishly. Numbers chapter 12, verse 11. But that's not all. Learning alone may lead to sin. For the verse continues, and we have sinned. Same location, look at in that same chapter, 12, verse 11 of Numbers. And if you prefer, I can prove that no'alu means foolish. For the following verse says, the nobles of Tsoan have been no'alu. This is talking about foolish. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 13. Another explanation of this verse is pay attention to Haskait. And listen, Israel, cut yourself to pieces. Ketetu, for the sake of Torah. Be ready to suffer for the sake of Torah. How many of us are willing to suffer for the sake of Torah? It is a personal commitment that we all need to undertake for the sake of the community, for the sake of our souls. Rabbi Lekesh expounded from here, where do we know the Torah endures only with a person who is willing to die for it, meaning to forego the comforts of life. This is answering a question that someone had asked me, why, if I give tithing, if I give maaser, if I test God to the test, and yet I don't see any prosperity come in my life? Because many times this happens because you are studying Torah, and to see if you really are enduring the connection and you're willing to suffer for the sake of Torah. So you may not be that wealthy. Those of you who are studying Torah, learning Torah, you want the wealth, but you're giving your maaser even. And yet the greatest reward is that of the ability to learn Torah. And this is what you have. You are more wealthier than the person that has millions of dollars in the bank. Obviously we want some comfort there, but it's not always the case. So here we have an incredible lesson now. So how can you acquire Torah? When you're ready to give up your luxury in creatures' comfort. Another interpretation of this verse is pay attention. Haskait and listen. Indeed, Haskait is seen as a contraction of chas. Be quiet and listen attentively. Katet, then analyze and then ask questions. They said in the yeshiva Rabbi Yanai, what is the meaning of the verse as milk under pressure produces butter, and a nose under pressure produces blood? So does anger under pressure produces strife. Mishle 30, verse 33. With whom do we find the cream milk of Torah? With a person who spills out milk he sucked from his mother's breast. Meaning, to become a Torah scholar, one has to begin studying in early childhood. This is the beginning of wisdom, the study of Torah. And only by abandoning the childish attitude and juvenile pursuit can you become a Torah scholar, says the Maharsha. In other words, grow up. When you become mature, then you're ready to give over. And a nose, af, which also means anger, under the pressure produces blood. A student who remains silent when his teacher is angry with him for the first time will be worthy to be able to distinguish between clean and unclean blood. Anger under pressure produces strife. A student who remains silent when his teacher is angry with him a first and a second time will be worthy to decide to intricate legal cases dealing with financial matters and capital punishment, as we have learned. Rabbi Ishmael says, if you want to become a wise, concentrate on studying financial laws. You want to be wise? Not only that, you want to be also wealthy? Learn Torah in the areas of financial law, Maaser, the